Hey, my friend, this is John Assaraf, and welcome to Mastering Financial Goal Achievement. Now, this program has taken me over 25 years to perfect by using stuff in my own life and by investing an enormous amount of time and money to tweak what I do in each area of my life financially, from setting goals to achieving those goals, to understanding every aspect of money. So you're in for a real treat. What I want you to do is make sure you have a piece of paper or your computer ready for you to be able to take some notes, and know that there is going to be action items for you to follow through on. For this particular session, it's all about getting real. What is it really going to take for you to achieve your financial goals once and for all? My goal for you is to help you achieve financial freedom so that you can have more time, more choices, and for you to be able to live the life that you are meant to live. Money is the tool by which we could give our life more purpose and meaning, do wonderful things for our family, ourselves, our friends, and the charities, and maybe even for the planet. So my goal is to take everything I have learned, applied, the good, the bad, the ugly, stuff that worked, the stuff that didn't work, so that you can have a blueprint of what you need to do. So pay attention, pay close attention with me, and I want you to understand one thing. One of the things that makes this program different than every other program out there is everything I'm going to share with you and teach you is proven in the neuroscience field around the brain and neuropsychology to really give you the best chance to use your natural talents and skills to manage the ones you're not good at to achieve your financial goals and dreams. So bear with me that some of the stuff I'm going to talk about may be technical, but I know you're smart and you can handle it. So before we even get started, let's get your brain into a receptive state. I want to show you a key exercise, which is a mental technique to deactivate your stress center, your anxiety center, your fear center, and more importantly, it activates and allows you to respond instead of react. It's a simple exercise, and it goes like this. Take 6 deep breaths with me. We'll actually just do 3 for this particular session, all right? You take 6 deep breaths in through your nose, and then when you blow it out of your mouth, blow it out like you're blowing it out through a straw. Again. And out like you're blowing out through a straw. And feel the air coming out of your lips. Now, doing that 6 times has been proven scientifically to deactivate the stress, fear, anxiety centers of your brain, the inner critic side of your brain, which is a reactive part of your brain whenever there is either real or potential danger involved, whether there's risk involved, whether there's uncertainty or self-doubt involved. By simply calming yourself down so you can respond, you not only put yourself in the best state to learn, but to choose what you want to do. So remember the take 6, calm the circuits exercise. The next thing that I want you to be focusing on that we will be discussing in this session is what Socrates said many years ago, the great philosopher. He said, know thyself. I'm going to share with you a couple of things that you may or may not know about yourself, but I want to give you some tools to understand yourself better so that you can create inspired action plans based on who you are. And one of the things that I learned many years ago is this. Awareness is what gives you choice. Choice is what gives you freedom. Proper planning is what gives you direction. Taking consistent action gives you results and self-confidence, and then adjusting your plan gives you predictability. Now, when you focus on your awareness and your plans and your action steps that you take, guess what happens? You actually are activating different parts of your brain that create the motivational circuits, or that activate the motivational circuits that'll cause you to take inspired action. Now, let me show you something that I believe is a game changer for you. And that is to really understand what is it going to take to master financial goal achievement. Not to just achieve your goals, but to master being able to achieve them over and over and over again. If you take a look at the circle in the middle, you've got your mindset, which is comprised of your beliefs, your habits, your emotions, your attitude, your paradigms, your habits that drive your behaviors automatically. On the outside of that circle is the knowledge and skills that you have. So when you have the right mindset and you know how to manage your emotions well, and you have the right knowledge and skills, and you back those up with the right strategies for earning money, investing money, protecting your wealth, getting out of debt, etc., then you've got the best chances to succeed. And then when you know where to get the right resources and how to create the right timelines for your goals, and you know where to get the tools and the systems in place, that's when you can start to accelerate your success. I'm going to be teaching you the foundational stuff, the stuff to implement, the stuff to accelerate, and then the stuff to really take your financial life into the stratosphere of success. And hopefully that is what you want to do and why you got involved in mastering financial goal achievement. Let's begin by helping you understand your brain on goals. And specifically, we'll talk about financial goals, but it definitely will apply to every other area of your life. Whenever you set a financial goal, there's always the initial excitement of setting a financial goal, and more importantly, what does it feel like to achieve that financial goal with all of the options that money gives you? Now, here's what happens. Your brain's number one priority is safety first. So when you set a financial goal that you may not have the knowledge or the skills to achieve, you may not have the beliefs that you're capable to achieve it, you may not feel like you deserve to achieve that financial goal, your brain perceives that as a threat. And in that state, your brain will actually put on the brakes regardless of what your goals are. So you have to understand the brain is working on safety first, financial safety, emotional safety, physical safety first. And right next to that, your brain is focusing on moving you away from any real type of pain or discomfort. And so in your brain, if your brain perceives your financial goals are way out of your league, it perceives that as a threat. And that may cause you to be embarrassed or ashamed or ridiculed or judged or to lose money if you take action and don't succeed. So I'll teach you how to manage that emotion of fear as well, or that stress or anxiety center that gets activated in the brain. The other thing you need to understand is whatever you have become accustomed to achieving, whether it's good or bad, what you want or what you don't, that has become your comfort zone. And all of your thought processes, emotional processes, and behaviors are geared towards achieving the goals that you have already achieved. And so that is considered your comfort zone. Anytime it requires any of your energy, mental or emotional or physical energy, to do things outside of your current comfort zone, guess what happens? Your brain wants to deactivate the motivational center, activate the rationalization center where you tell yourself, I really don't feel like it, I don't have time, it's too hard, it's too early, it's too late, I'm too Asian or too Caucasian. So I want you to pay attention to the rationalizations and any resistance that you may be meeting, not only when you're going through this program, but as you start taking new action steps towards your goals and dreams. Your brain wants you to conserve energy. And so it is a miser of energy, and that's just the way you are hardwired, and me too. Number 3, anytime that you have a goal that you haven't achieved, there's a space between where you are right now and the goal that you want to achieve. In between that space, there's tension. And that tension is called dissonance in the brain. It's that gap between where you are and where you want to be. What we need to do is reduce that tension in the brain and show you a clear path from where you want to be, almost like a bridge between your current financial results and the financial results you want, and create a bridge to lower the dissonance in your brain so you take inspired action. Number 4, as you are learning all these new things and as you're trying to add new things into your life, I want you to be aware of overwhelm. When you're learning so much information, when you have so many steps to take, when you're trying to change, it can be overwhelming. So here's what I would like you to do. What can you remove out of your day-to-day, week-by-week behaviors right now to make room for learning how to master financial goal achievement? What can you do by reducing, for example, your social media usage or the amount of TV you watch or anything that's a time waster right now? Let's make room for this program or for you taking action so you start to achieve your financial goals and dreams faster and easier than ever before. When we're overwhelmed, our brain is telling us that we're focusing on too many things at the conscious level. Not at the subconscious level, but at the conscious level. So reduce the things that are really important and urgent to you to 3 to 5 max, and you'll reduce your overwhelm. Number 5, your brain, when you're creating and developing a new set of skills, when you're gaining more knowledge, when you're applying that knowledge and getting the feedback loops, there's confusion at first. There's confusion in learning a new language. There's confusion in learning how to ride a bike. There's confusion in learning how to stick shift a car. So the meaning of confusion right now is new concepts getting fused. Right? So as I'm talking about the brain, your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and fears and emotions, there's a lot of new concepts here. Just be calm, breathe, and over time with repetition, those concepts will be fused, and no differently than how you learn how to speak a new language. You learn some of the alphabet, you learn a few words, a few sentences, you dialogue, the alphabets and the new language becomes fused with experience, then it becomes comfortable. So in the beginning, expect this uncomfortable feeling of all of this new information. Does that make sense? Confusion, concepts getting fused, okay? The other thing that I want you to do is whenever you're starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed or confused, go back to the take 6, calm the circuits, okay? Breathe, reduce the anxiety and the stress, and then come back and add a little bit more to your knowledge and to whatever it is that you're going to be doing with that knowledge. All right? Deal? Okay, so what you're looking at right now is just a quick view of the brain and the 4 different types of people there are in the world. Now there's people who are social, like me, who love to talk about stuff with other people. And that's the predominant way that they are. I'm a cross between 3 of these, and you may be a cross between 2 or 3, or a little bit of all 4. So social people love to talk about ideas. They love to talk about what's new, what's happening, and they're very gregarious. The people who are conceptual are really good at creating a vision for what they want. They can see the big picture. They can see the future really clearly. The people who are analytical like to analyze things. They like to analyze written things, audio things, in-person things. They like to synthesize lots and lots of information. People who are structurally, or their brain is processing information structurally, are always focusing on steps. What's step 1? What's step 2? What's step 3? What's step 4? What's step 5? Engineers are perfect examples of structured type people. There's a place and a time for everything. Now, you could be a combination of any of these things. And the reason I want to start off with this for you is if you happen to be, mostly social or conceptual, then some of the things I'm going to ask you to do, like come up with plans, which I'll show you how to do, that may not be natural and easy for you. So you may need to get some help, to have somebody help you do that, which is what I do all the time. I'm really good on social, conceptual, and analytical, and I need the most help on the structural. And so I always have somebody or 2 or 3 people on my team that are able to do that. So which one are you? Social, analytical, conceptual, structural. It doesn't matter which one you are, but when you know yourself, you can manage the areas that you're not really strong in. So with that said, here's a couple of questions for you. Or not a couple of questions, but when you're setting your financial goals, you really have two options. And it all depends on the type of person you are, but more importantly, where are you starting from? Okay, as you can imagine, people who join this program and go through this, I have clients of mine that I work with one-on-one to go through this content, and they'll invest $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 to do this for themselves and their families. Other people that don't want to do it, or they want to do it on their own, they'll invest in this program and then they'll do it on their own because they've done it before, so they need some tweaking. So when you set goals that stretch you a little bit, it's a lot easier because you're not going to activate any of the fear centers in your brain. You're not going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to be too confused. You can set some smaller goals, reach those, and then set some bigger goals. Now, you're not going to attract people with a desire to be part of a big vision if you have a business or you want to start a business, if you set small goals. People that can achieve big goals want to work with people who want to achieve big goals. Now, this is just for your reference to decide which one do you want. Smaller goals that are a little bit easier to achieve and stretch you a little bit, or do you want to set bigger goals that stretch you a lot and cause a lot of discomfort? So when you set big goals that you don't yet know how to achieve, you're going to activate the fear centers and the stress centers in your brain. That's going to deactivate motivation. That's going to cause you to negatively talk to yourself possibly and not take action. So I want you to realize that the bigger the goals that you have, the greater stress it's going to cause, especially if you don't have the knowledge, skills, tools, resources, and the plans to achieve it. So as you're starting out, what I want you to do is determine how much risk do you want to take? How much discomfort do you want to have? How much of your life do you want to invest in making your financial goals and dreams a reality? For me, I love to set big goals that I don't know how to achieve and then challenge myself to become who I need to become in order to achieve it. Now, I've been doing this for 40 years, and so I have a lot of experience in what this discomfort feels like, what uncertainty feels like, what this negative self-talk feels like, what feeling like I'm not smart enough or good enough to achieve that goal feels like, and knowing that's just my old brain doing its thing, knowing that I'm out of my comfort zone. And so which do you prefer? Small goals that stretch you a little, or big goals that stretch you a lot? And you can also obviously choose something in between. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So I want to get some of this stuff out of the way so you know what to expect. I often say, like, if I asked you, do you want to jog a marathon with me? And let's say you said yes. And then I said to you, okay, we're gonna have to switch out our diet, and that's gonna be a little uncomfortable. We're gonna need to exercise properly and get rest and get massages. That part you probably like. You're gonna be a little bit sore for the first 2 or 3 weeks while we get started. As long as you know in advance what it's gonna be like, most people say, okay, I can handle that. Well, I want you to know that when you're learning all this new information and you're learning all the stuff I'm going to be teaching you in this very, very comprehensive program, you're going to possibly feel those things I said earlier. Confused, overwhelmed. You may feel resistance. You may feel like quitting. And here's what I want you to do. Don't. No matter what. Get through the program one session, one module at a time. Okay? Great. So what's the difference between goal setting and goal achieving? What's the difference? Most people don't even know the difference. And here it is. When you set goals, okay, you are using a couple of different parts of your brain. One of the reasons I have Albert Einstein there is because he had an incredible ability to analyze things and deduce. He had a huge deductive reasoning skill in his brain. He also said that imagination was more important than knowledge. So he was consistently thinking, imagining possibilities in his head. He was doing equations in his head before they were ever written down. So deductive reasoning is your choice part of your brain. I want this or that, this much, that much. I don't want this, I want that. And then your imagination is you seeing yourself with the goals, the dreams, the lifestyle that you want to live. Your perception and intuition and desire are all part of your conscious brain. Now, intuition is both because you get instructions or you get these signals intuitively that then send a signal to your conscious brain. So it actually is a bridge between the two. And so is imagination, by the way, right? And so there's a couple of these activities in the brain that happen between the conscious and the subconscious mind. But for today, what I want you to think about is my conscious mind is the part of my brain that I choose what I want. I'll show you how to use both, don't worry. Your subconscious mind is what really drives 95% of your thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensations, and behaviors day in, day out, week in, week out. So which do you think is the better part of your brain to learn about and to program properly? Conscious or subconscious? Conscious is what you choose with. Subconscious is what drives your automatic behavior. So we're going to be getting into belief alignment. What you want to be able to do is choose a goal and then implement a subconscious belief, which I'll show you in some of the later trainings how to do. So when your belief, for example, let's say you want to become a millionaire. I'll just use that. I mean, you may not, but let's say you want to. Let's say there's a part of you that chooses, I want to become a millionaire. But there's a subconscious belief that says, but you're not smart enough. You're too young. You're too old. You've tried that before and it didn't work. So you don't have the knowledge or the skills, obviously. Whenever you have a mismatch between the vision or the goals that you want to achieve and beliefs at the subconscious level, the beliefs at the subconscious level will override the imagination and your desires and your choices, and it'll cause you to realign with your current set of beliefs and your current set of results. And so we've got to focus on beliefs alignment. We also have to focus on emotional management, because anytime that you set a goal that's out of your current comfort zone, the fear center and stress center are activated in your brain because you're out of your comfort zone. It works almost identically to a thermostat, okay, that's in a room or in your car. Anytime there's hotter or colder temperature in the room, that is what is programmed on the thermostat, your brain sends a signal through its nervous system, all right, to either, pick up the pace if you're behind, slow down if you're too far ahead, and what happens with the thermostat in your room. If it's too hot, air conditioning comes on. If it's too cold, heat comes in until the programming is set. So anytime you're out of your comfort zone, anytime you're overwhelmed, anytime that you're confused, this trigger kicks in. So we're going to talk about emotional management. And then if your vision and your financial goals are bigger than your current self-images, your current self-image will win. And this is why we call the lottery effect, the fact that 87% of all lottery winners lose the money that they win within 3 years. And 95% of those people say it's the worst experience of their life winning all that money. It's because their self-image didn't match up with the reality of the money that they made. Hollywood actors face this, athletes face this, entrepreneurs face this, and every human being faces this. If your results are bigger than your self-image will cause you to sabotage your behaviors until there's a match in your external world that matches your internal world. So the key is, how do you align your hidden self-image at the subconscious level with you seeing yourself achieving your goals? That's what this new program is about. And then we talk about new habits. Think about this. Your current habits cause your behaviors that causes your results, right? Well, habits are part of your automatic self. Habits are part of your subconscious mind to conserve energy and to keep you repeating a pattern that you've invested 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years creating. Habits are not easy to break. They're not easy to make either. But without a proper process, it's hard to break habits. So we're going to show you how to do that in this program. Now, I know you think, well, what does all this have to do with money? Well, everything. Knowledge is useless on its own without application, especially if you just apply something one time or two times or three times. And so I'm going to teach you not only how to earn more, manage, invest, protect, and get out of debt, but I'm going to teach you in this Mastering Financial Goal Achievement program how you can change from the inside out so that you can achieve your financial goals and dreams. Deal? Are you ready? How about a high five? You're doing great. Again, this is just the intro to this whole program, but I want to have you start to use your brain better. And I want you to start using that conscious part of your brain, that Einstein part of your brain. And there are three parts to this. And the first one is all about contemplation, okay? So the first part is all about contemplation. Everything I'm going to share with you, as I mentioned before, is getting your brain to work with you. And if you are wondering, why do I keep talking about the brain? Well, maybe because it's the most powerful organism in the entire universe that's capable of helping you achieve your goals instead of blocking you from achieving your goals, like some hidden current, an invisible force that's holding you back. I want you to break free from all of the conditioned limitations that you have, and that's part of what we're going to do. So number one is contemplation. Do you have a clear vision of what your life looks like upon you feeling like, wow, this is going great? Do you have a vision for how much income you're earning? Do you have a vision for what type of lifestyle you're living? Do you have a vision for where you're traveling? Do you have a vision for your home, for your car, for your clothes, for your family, for your relationships, for the charities that you're helping? Do you have a vision and the feeling of what that's going to be like? Well, if you don't, part of what I'm going to ask you to do is create that vision. Why? Because when you start to create clarity in your brain, there's a part of your brain called the left prefrontal cortex that is the GPS of the brain that then helps you load and lock onto that like an archer, has got his bow and arrow and she's looking at the bullseye. Your vision is the bullseye. And your goals are all of the layers around the bullseye. So by activating the visual cortex of your brain with your vision, you're going to activate the motivational centers of your brain that are attached to the motor cortex of your brain. And I'll show you something called cognitive priming later on in another session on how to activate that every single day so you take inspired action. So you want to have your vision, you want to have your goals. So let's say your vision is a year or 3 or 5 down the road. Then you want to set some goals that allow you to create plans to achieve those goals. Smart plans to achieve those goals actually activate several different parts of your brain that makes your brain buy in to moving towards those goals. So vision first, goals next, and then since both of those are part of activating the frontal cortex of the brain, the newest part of the brain that's been developed, we also want to activate the limbic system, which is the emotional centers of the brain. And one of the best ways to do that is to have a reason why. Why must you achieve those goals? Not why should you, why could you, but why must you? Is there a higher purpose for you? Is there some kind of emotional hook, whether it's your children, your parents, your spouse, yourself, that you don't want to ever let yourself down? That you say, I must because. So if you can get those 3 things done, what happens is you start to activate the motivational circuit of your brain. And so we want to activate this motivational circuit as many times a day as possible. And so how do you do that? I've talked about some of them already. And so when you focus on your vision, your goals, and your big why every day for maybe a minute or two, you're activating that motivational circuit, not circus, a circus. And so when you have a higher moral or social purpose other than just yourself, maybe to help mankind, help the planet, help animals, help the plants, whatever it is, that even takes it even higher. When you experience the joy of achieving your goals in the present moment, you're actually activating the neural cells or the neurons in your brain, and you're creating these neural networks in your brain. And when you repeat that, you're reinforcing that motivational circuit. When you create a plan and when you take action, you upgrade self-confidence, you upgrade certainty, you activate certain parts of your brain that go, instead of just what you want, and you activate the how you're going to achieve it part of your brain, and you activate the why part of your brain. Now you've got three major parts of your brain working together. And if you were to think of yourself as a conductor of an orchestra, and you had to get several different musicians to play together, or the piece just wouldn't sound right, think of your brain as an organism that you own, that you are now learning how to use better so that you can master financial goal achievement. And more than anything else, you can start to really fulfill your goals and dreams and achieve them faster and easier than ever before. And when you visualize and emotionalize your vision and your goals and your why, you're giving yourself the emotional fuel that you need to achieve your goals. And then there's something I'm going to teach you as well, and that's something called mental contrasting. And you see this on number 7 over here, and that is visualizing and emotionalizing overcoming obstacles. Some of the latest research is showing that when you have an obstacle, any obstacle, whether it's real or imagined, and you visualize yourself overcoming it and you feel yourself overcoming it, your brain actually doesn't know the difference between something real or something imagined. And when you see yourself and feel yourself overcoming an obstacle, your brain thinks that you're overcoming the obstacle, and then it gets you to do actually the things that are necessary to achieve that obstacle. So these are some of the things that we are going to be working on to activate your motivational circuits in your brain, all right? So one of the first exercises that I want you to do, and that I want you to take some time and use your workbook for, all right, is to write out what is your big vision for your life. Let's start with the big vision you have for your life, your family, your children, the charities, the fun and experiences you want to have, the places you want to travel, and write that down. Write that down somewhere. And you can either do it now by pausing this video, or you can put it into your calendar and say, okay, I'm going to take an hour to do this little exercise. Why? Think about this. What if back in the early 60s, John F. Kennedy, President of the United States, I think it was, early, said, let's put up a human somewhere in space. Like, where in space? He started with a vision. Let's put a human on the moon before the end of the decade. Let's put a human on the moon before the end of the decade. They didn't even have the tools or the resources to be able to do it when he set that vision. So I want you to set a big vision for your life. The next thing that I want you to do, all right, is in this same hour that you're going to set aside to do this, is what are the goals that you want to achieve? What goals do you have financially for the next 3, 6, 12 months? Do you want to make a certain amount of income? Do you want to get out of debt? Do you want to put a down payment on a house? Do you want to make enough money to buy a car? Do you want to save enough money to go on a nice trip? Do you want to double your business or personal income? Whenever you set a goal, I want you to be aware of something. The how to achieve the goal, the how, the details of how you're going to achieve it, always comes after you set the goal. So we set the goal first, and then we find out what knowledge do I need, what skills do I need, what tools or resource do I need, whose help do I need, who can help me, etc. And so we can always find out the how. If you think about any financial goal that you want to achieve. Has somebody done it? If somebody's done it, then you could find the blueprint for what they did and do it. So achieving the goal should never, or setting the goal should never cause you any concern. If you don't know how to achieve it, that's okay. But since somebody's already achieved it, then why not figure out what they've done and just follow what they've done? So don't ever allow that to get in your way. I want you to, in this hour that you're going to set aside to work on this segment, okay, and the information's in the workbook of how to do it, I want you to make a list of all the short, mid, and long-term goals that you have, financial goals. All right, so a midterm goal, for example, or a mid-range goal is be debt-free in 6 years. Okay, that's long. Earn $100,000 in the next 12 or 24 months. That's mid to long, depending on who you are. Have a net worth of $1 to $5 million. That's mid to long, depending on who you are. Get a 7-10% return on your investments. Well, that you could probably do in a short term or a midterm. Give $25,000 a year to charities. I want you to dream. I want you to go back to Albert Einstein and imagine a goal that you want to achieve. Now, here's where I want you to be really careful. I don't want you to set goals based on what you've achieved in the past. I don't want you to set goals based on your age. I don't want you to set goals based on your race. I don't want you to set goals based on where you live. I don't want you to set goals based on what you think you could achieve. I want you to dare to dream, to set goals bigger than your current circumstances and abilities are. And I want you to feel the excitement, okay, of becoming the person that's able to achieve those goals. So I'm going to go back to a slide I shared earlier. You can set goals that stretch you a little bit or stretch you a lot. If you're going to choose goals that stretch you a lot, you're going to feel a lot of discomfort. Just be ready for it. Use your breathing exercise to calm down, and then I'll teach you how to use your left prefrontal cortex to be able to really create the right plans and to get the right tools and resources for that. So you've got to make a list of your short-term financial goals, your long-term financial goals, but let's start with short-term financial goals. How much do you want to earn, at work or from your business in the next 3 or 4 months? How much do you want to save in the next 30 days? How much of your credit card do you want to pay off? Do you want to open up an IRA or some kind of investment account? Anytime we set a goal, we activate the motivational centers of our brain. Anytime that you take the idea out of your head and put it onto a piece of paper, onto your computer, you're going to give yourself a higher level of possibility for achieving that goal. And then when you focus on that daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, you're going to start to give your brain the instructions you need to help you achieve your goals. So after you finish some of these things that I'm asking you to do, then go to your midterm goals. And so what do you want to achieve in 6 months to a year? How much do you want to save for a down payment for a house? How much do you want to put away for college fund or retirement? Then your long-term financial goals. When do you want to retire? How much do you want to have in net worth? How much cash do you want coming from your investments? What date will you pay off your mortgage? When will you be totally debt-free? How much after-tax income will you have? How much cash will you have in the bank? Now, I know that you're probably thinking, oh my God, there's a lot of work here. But I want to remind you of something. This isn't, a game for amateurs. Finances is a pro game. There's ways to make money. There's ways to manage money. There's ways to invest money, ways to protect money. There's ways to use debt properly. And there's ways to use debt improperly. What I'm sharing with you is based on not only what I've learned for myself and my family, but I've taught this literally to tens of thousands of people. And the ones who choose to apply it at their own pace achieve so much greater success than people who don't think about this There's too many people that are putting their head in the sand, like an ostrich, not wanting to learn this. That's a recipe for disaster. Because what happens is you get to retirement age and it's too late for many people unless they understand, how to catch up really fast. So it doesn't matter if you're watching this and you're 20 years old or you're watching this and you're 70 years old. What I'm sharing with you is the way to get your brain to work better, is a way for you to master financial goal achievement. And yes, there's some complexities. And there's a lot of simplicity in it too when it's laid out for you in a plan like this. So as I mentioned earlier, what you want to do is this. Focus on the vision, the goals, and the why. And when the why is big enough, what you're going to need to do becomes a little bit easier, okay? What you're going to need to do becomes a little bit easier. I've given you enough stuff for this video. In the next one, we're going to get a little bit more structural, okay? So we're going to get more into your structural brain. Setting goals is easy. Achieving goals is a little bit harder because it takes a little bit of finesse, fine-tuning, and planning. So we're going to be talking about preparing and planning in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this so far. If you need to watch it again, that's great. If you want to watch it with a family member, even better. And if you have kids, make sure you watch it with them. Have an amazing day or afternoon, no matter where you are in the world, or night. And I look forward to you in the next session.